Watch this heartwarming and suspenseful story of how an unlikely hero, a small cat, saved a baby's life. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible real-life stories. It was a quiet night in the Smith household, the kind where everything felt still, wrapped in the comforting silence of a sleeping home. The only sounds were the occasional creaks of the wooden floor and the rhythmic ticking of the clock in the hallway. Outside, a cool breeze rustled the trees, and the distant hoot of an owl echoed through the neighborhood. It was just another ordinary night, until it wasn't. Luna, the family's beloved tabby cat, stirred from her spot on the living room couch. Her sharp green eyes flickered open, ears twitching as if she had sensed something in the air. She lifted her head, listening. Everything seemed normal, yet an unsettling feeling crawled under her fur. She stretched lazily but didn't settle back down. Instead, she leaped off the couch, her paws landing silently on the carpeted floor. Something wasn't right. Luna's gaze turned toward the hallway, leading to the nursery where baby Noah slept. The door was slightly ajar, just as it always was. She padded toward it, her whiskers twitching, her movements cautious yet determined. Peeking inside, she found the baby curled up in his crib, his tiny chest rising and falling ever so gently. His soft, rhythmic breathing usually reassured her. But tonight, something felt different. A low, uneasy sound rumbled in her throat. She stepped closer. Noah didn't stir. His breathing seemed off. It was subtle, but Luna noticed it. She placed her front paws on the edge of the crib, stretching up to get a closer look. Her tail flicked as she watched, waiting. A minute passed. Then another. The eerie stillness in the room made her uneasy. Then, she let out a soft meow. No response. She meowed again, this time louder. From the parents' bedroom down the hall, Emily stirred under the covers. She frowned in her sleep, her subconscious barely registering the distant cries of their cat. Luna rarely made noise at night. Usually, she curled up at the foot of their bed or slept peacefully in the living room. But tonight, her meows were persistent. Luna dropped back onto the floor, pacing anxiously before leaping up again, her claws gripping the wooden bars of the crib. She let out a more desperate sound, a long, drawn-out yell that echoed through the quiet house. This time, Emily's eyes fluttered open. She lay still for a moment, listening. Then she nudged her husband, Mark, who groaned in protest. "Mark," she whispered, her voice groggy. "Do you hear that?" Mark mumbled something incoherent, turning over. "It's Luna," Emily said, rubbing her eyes. "She's meowing nonstop." "So?" Mark muttered, still half asleep. "She probably just wants food." Emily sighed, sitting up. She glanced at the clock, 2:47 a.m. Luna's cries continued, and something about them made her uneasy. It wasn't her usual playful or attention-seeking meow. It was urgent. Swinging her legs over the edge of the bed, she stood up and grabbed her robe. As she stepped into the dimly lit hallway, the cold wooden floor sent a small shiver up her spine. The meows grew louder as she approached the nursery, her heartbeat picking up pace. "Luna," she whispered, pushing the door open. The sight before her made her stop in her tracks. Luna stood on her hind legs, paws gripping the crib's railing, her ears flattened slightly, her tail flicking wildly. She turned to look at Emily, her eyes wide and alert. Then she let out another desperate cry. Emily's gaze snapped to Noah. For a moment, everything seemed fine. He was lying on his back, his tiny arms relaxed, his face peaceful. But as she stepped closer, the pit in her stomach deepened. Something felt off. She leaned over the crib, her hands reaching for him. The moment she touched his skin, an icy dread filled her veins. He was too still. Too quiet. Emily's breath caught in her throat. She lowered her ear to his tiny chest, listening. There was a sound, but it was faint, too faint. His breaths were shallow, almost non-existent. And then she saw it, his lips, barely visible in the dim light, had taken on a bluish tint. Her heart stopped. "Noah?" Her voice came out shaky. She shook him gently, panic rising like a tidal wave. "Noah, baby, wake up." No response. A surge of adrenaline shot through her as she scooped him into her arms, cradling his fragile body against her chest. "Mark," she screamed, her voice breaking. "Mark, wake up. Something's wrong with Noah." From the crib, Luna let out one final meow before falling silent. Her job was done. She had warned them. Mark bolted out of bed, stumbling into the nursery in a daze. The moment he saw Emily's tear-streaked face, holding their limp baby, his own panic set in. What's happening?" he stammered. "He's not breathing right." Emily cried, her hands shaking. "Call 911. Now." Mark fumbled for his phone, his hands trembling as he dialed. Emily rocked Noah gently, tears spilling down her face. "Stay with me, baby," she whispered, her voice cracking. "Stay with me." Luna sat at the foot of the crib, her green eyes locked onto them, her tail curled around her paws. She didn't meow anymore. She didn't move. She simply watched, as if she knew that whatever happened next was out of her control. The seconds stretched into eternity as the sound of the emergency operator's voice crackled through the phone. "My son," Mark choked out. He's not breathing properly. He's turning blue. Please, send help." Emily felt Noah's tiny body shift slightly in her arms. His breath hitched, but it was still weak. She sobbed, pressing her lips against his forehead, rocking him gently as if sheer love alone could bring him back. The operator was giving instructions: check his airway, keep him upright, watch for any movements. Emily followed every word, her hands steady despite the terror flooding her veins. Then, finally, Noah let out a small, wheezy gasp. Emily sucked in a sharp breath, hope bursting through the fear. "He's breathing," she sobbed. "It's faint, but he's breathing." Mark's grip on the phone tightened. "The ambulance is on the way," he told her, his voice thick with emotion. Emily clung to her son, rocking him, whispering soothing words as the wail of distant sirens cut through the night. And through it all, Luna remained by their side, her job as their silent guardian fulfilled. The sound of the ambulance siren grew louder, but every second felt like an eternity for Emily and Mark. Emily gently rocked Noah in her arms, as if her warmth and love alone could bring him back. Tears streamed down her face, falling onto his tiny cheeks, while she whispered silent prayers, pleading for a miracle. Mark rushed to open the front door just as the paramedics stormed in. Emily, her hands trembling, reluctantly handed Noah over. One of the paramedics quickly placed him on a small stretcher, checking his vital signs with expert precision. The seconds stretched painfully as they worked, their faces unreadable. "He's breathing," one of them finally said, but his tone was serious. "It's weak, but he's still fighting." A mixture of relief and fear flooded Emily's chest. Mark gripped her hand tightly as they watched the paramedics place an oxygen mask over Noah's tiny face. His frail body barely moved, but the slight rise and fall of his chest gave him hope. "We need to get him to the hospital immediately," the paramedic said. "He might have had a breathing obstruction or a sudden drop in oxygen levels." "It's good you caught it in time." Emily's heart clenched. Caught it in time? If it weren't for Luna, they wouldn't have known until it was too late. She turned, her eyes searching for the little hero who had saved their son. Luna sat a few feet away, her green eyes fixed on Noah, her tail curled around her paws. She was calm now, her job done. For a fleeting moment, Emily swore she saw something in Luna's gaze, something almost human, almost knowing. Tears welled up in her eyes again, but this time, they weren't just of fear. They were of gratitude. "She saved him," Emily whispered. Mark looked at her, confused. "What?" "Luna," she said, glancing at their cat. "She knew. She tried to tell us." Mark followed her gaze, realization dawning in his eyes. His throat tightened as he watched Luna, the cat who had once just been their pet, now their guardian angel in disguise. As the paramedics rushed Noah to the ambulance, Emily and Mark followed closely, hearts pounding. Just before stepping outside, Emily turned back one last time. "Thank you, Luna," she whispered. And in the quiet of the house, Luna blinked slowly, as if she understood. Then, with a soft sigh, she curled up beside Noah's empty crib, finally at peace.